So back in the day, I worked at this daycare, right? And we had this after school program. And I remember one kid in particular named Logan, because Logan was awful. Anytime we needed to do something, Logan just would not. And anytime we needed to go from point A to point B, Logan would seriously run away. And it's like, okay, we did this inside activity, time to go out to the playground. Well, Logan's just running off and you have to chase this kid down. There were plenty of times that after mom got off work, I saw her come to pick the kids up. The oldest daughter would come, the youngest son would come, but Logan's sitting there running around. And she would have to go chase him on the playground. And there was a number of times that I watched this woman get tired, and then she left her kid, took the other two kids home. Dad had to come an hour later whenever he got off of work and chase him by himself. There's one time, maybe my first week or two there, that I actually caught this kid. And it felt like this big trophy buck that I just killed, man, because I carried this kid around by his ankle through the place. And everyone's like, you caught Logan. It's like, man, I was Harry Potter and I got the golden snitch, right? But that's a little kid. All right, we can expect a kid to act like a kid. The weird thing about the opening of the book of Jonah is Jonah is a prophet. That means it's his job to go preach on behalf of God. And God tells him, hey, go up to Nineveh and go preach to them my word. But in verse 3, it says, Jonah rose to flee to Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. Now, this is weird, because if you were to look at a map, he's here in Israel. Nineveh is up here in Assyria. He says, arise, go up there. But instead he goes down to Joppa, wants to run away to Tarshish. These are total opposite directions. It's like, bro, what are you doing? Do you really think you can flee from the presence of the Lord? This is like watching a 3-year-old play hide and seek. All they know to do is like climb on top of the couch and throw a pillow over their face, and they're giggling. They don't know how to hide. Can you really flee from the presence of the Lord? But we act like it, don't we? Man, for some reason, we think that God is definitely here. He's with us when we're in a place like the church. But what about the moment you step on campus at school? Do we think God's not watching over you anymore there? Like you've now stepped onto your boat to Tarshish. You get around that circle of friends and you forget all about God's presence. You've stepped on the boat to Tarshish. How about whenever you get alone with a boyfriend or girlfriend, or even you're in your room but over the phone with them? Do you got to step away from God in order to be with another person? How many of us, even in our homes this past week, you have burned hour after hour, day after day, monotonously watching TV and playing games on your phone and playing on social media, but your Bible has been sitting over there this whole time. Maybe you haven't run away, but we know how to get on a boat and drift, don't we? No, we truly can't flee from the presence of God in the physical sense, but we can drift spiritually, can't we? What Jonah's doing here, this is a problem, but it's just an outward indicator of a deeper spiritual issue. And so Jonah's story is so crazy because God calls him, but he tries to run and hide from God. So church, here's the question I want to ask you today. If you're a believer, God has called you, but would you consider, where are you going? Every one of us, man, every day we're heading in one of two directions. We are either walking along with God or we are walking away from him. There really is no middle ground. Jesus says in Matthew 7:14 that following him, that way is straight and it's narrow. And he unapologetically says that the way is difficult and it's not popular. So if you're a believer in Christ, God has called you. He has given you and I a direction to follow. So here's the challenge. Over the past couple weeks that you have been stuck at home, even haven't been able to come here to church, I'm willing to bet you have been glued to technology and run down by boredom. You spend inordinate amounts of time on your phone and on TV. Let me ask you though, man, are you drifting? Or are you slipping away? Have you stepped away from God? Instead of walking in his will and using this time to be closer to him, have you drifted away? Christian, where are you going?